Welcome to another Sisir video. In this video, I'm going to discuss the Frizz modifier. In order to show how it works a little bit easier, I prepared this very simple scene with a few hair. The way that the Frizz modifier works, if I just, this is the default settings, if I just increase the amount, this situation start to happen. The way that works, if I set the scale X and Z to 0, let's say that I increase this to about here. If I now increase just one axis, you notice that on there is this sine wave applied to the hair. You may notice that there is a little bit of breakout here, and this is because of the hair resolution. By default, is set to 40. Down here, there is this hair resolution tab that you can decrease and increase. You can see that the hair are changing resolution. If you need more resolution, just increase it. It doesn't really matter because this is just the preview on how Sisir displays the hair, but something to keep in mind is that when you export the hair, the resolution is going to be equivalent to the number of points along each hair. So maybe perhaps let's reduce the amount so that it's less noticeable, like this. If you want, we can even make the hair thickness a bit thinner. This, so it's less distracting. So as I was saying, there is this sine wave that is applied on the hair. Now you may notice that the root is deforming less than the tip, and this is because by default the root freeze is set to 0. So if I set the root freeze to 1 and the mid freeze also to 1, now you should get a constant curve. In fact, if you look here, the curve is constant throughout the length of the hair. Let's say that I set this to 30, okay? Obviously, the same thing happens if I do on the Z scale, on the Z axis. If I move this, it's the same sine wave, but it's applied to a 90 degrees angle. And if I set both, let's say 20 and 20, I get a coil. So this is kind of like a curly type of situation going on here. You can see that is a nice circle happening here on the hair. You can increase the intensity. Obviously, you can increase the magnitude of the curve. And also down here, there is a noise modifier. Then the noise modifier simply adds some noise, and it's multiplying. This value is multiplying the amount. So the higher the amount, the higher the noise is going to be applied as well. And also you have the same, if I set this back to delete this 0.5, and let's do this. You can, same as the other previous parameter that you found, like in the clumping or the of the hair modifier, the hair size modifier, you can also use the shift to move the frizz back and forth along the sides of the hair, just to give you a little bit more control on the look. You may notice down here there is a use clamp ID. So right now there are no clamps, so turning this on and off makes no difference. But what we can do if we create some clamp, so let's say I'm going to random, and yeah, 20 is probably fine. So by default, the curl, the freeze and curl situation is it's modifying individual hair, but tries to maintain the clump. But each individual hair is curling on itself. Okay. However, if I turn on use clamp ID, you can see now that the entire clump is curling. So this will give you control. If you make lots of clamps, you can curl the actual clamp itself rather than individual hair like this. We can try and make it a bit more obvious. Let's try to set this to 40. This is and set this back to 1 and 1. Maybe this is a little too much. Okay, something like that. Again, the clamps are maintained. The hair are clamping towards a clamp. If I set this to 0, you can see that it's clamping, and I can even turn on the clamp ID to make this more obvious. So it still maintained the clamp, but by default, with this turned off, each individual hair is curling on its own. But if I use this, now it's the entire, let's do, it's the entire clamp that it's curling instead of individual hair. You can kind of see the shape here a little bit better. So hopefully you can tell the difference. And obviously, again, the noise is going to work the same way. It's going to apply the noise per clamp instead of per hair. So you can see if I increase and decrease the amount per clamp, they get the same value. But if I turn this off, it's individual hair. So this should make it pretty obvious. Okay, that's it for this video. If you want to try Sisir yourself, simply join the Discord. The link is in the description below. You can download it for free and use it as much as you want, as long as it's not for commercial use. Keep in mind that Sisir is very much a work in progress, so expect bugs, crashes, and other issues. But you can help me improve the tool by giving feedback, and also feel free to suggest more feature that you want to see implemented. So join the Discord and go download Sisir. I will see you there.